So this shows the life of the gears. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s watching Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team, Knight Rider, Fall Guy, all kind of car related shows. Bigfoot was my hero when I was a kid. I loved anything that sounded mean, went fast, or jumped through the dirt. I was always that kid. My Hot Wheels track started off the roof of my house, and the final jump was over a pile of dog shit with the M80 inside of it. My buddy was lighting it on the side. We were trying to time the jump together. So this is my show. It's called The Life of the Gears. We talk about car related stories, builds you've done. If you're a fabricator, a builder, or just a car enthusiast, we want you on our show. Send us an email. I'm Muffler Mike. This is Chris. He owns Star Motorworks. We're gonna sit here and drink some beers and tell some car stories. The beers I got today were just a mixture. I tried to pick some German beers because he's got a 2012 CLS 63. We're gonna show you that car in a little bit. He did a couple mods to it, and he's been working on Mercedes for a long time, had a lot of fast cars in his times. So we're gonna get it started. We're gonna start it out with a shot of scotch to get the party rolling, and then we'll get this fucking show on the road. All right, so while we're talking, let's see. When do you think you developed, like when did you start to love cars?
All right, I started loving cars when I was about 14 or 15 years old, really. And it's kind of a cool story how I got my first car. I went with my grandma to pick up a new vehicle for her, and lo and behold, there was a bright red Mustang sitting there. So I nudged my grandpa and I said, "Hey, Pops, I want that car." And he goes, "Well, if you get that car, your grandma's gonna be really pissed." So.
Yeah, you kind of grew up with, like me, right? Living with your grandparents?
Yeah, my grandparents, and you know, my grandpa was a hot rodder, had a bunch of fast cars back in the day, you know, all those cars I wish he still had. You know, that's your dad or your grandpa, they tell you about all these badass cars they always had and never get that.
And that was the time where you could do all kind of cool shit too, you know, like in the 70s you could fucking do burnouts.
No
yeah, or you could do burnouts and like if you got busted, the cop was like, "Hey man, take it easy, you know, what are you guys doing? Don't be too stupid. See you later." Not like you're going to jail for sure nowadays.
We're impounding your car, we're gonna, you know, crush it, you're done for.
Cheers, we're getting warmed up. It's not bad, it's 12 years old. It was only like 50 bucks.
No. Yeah, but so that's kind of how it got me into cars.
So your first car, you got that Mustang?
Yeah, I got a 5-liter Mustang with my first car. And so, like I was saying, the story went, we went to get my grandma a car, and we drove that red Mustang off the lot, and she didn't get a car that day. So, and I was 15, so I couldn't even drive it yet. I had to park it in the garage. And she was quite pissed.
What car did she end up getting? Did she get a car?
So she ended up getting, you know, she was SUV lady, you know, she liked I think she got a Trailblazer, a Chevy Trailblazer.
So what year was this Mustang?
So this Mustang was a 94, 5-liter, automatic, and it's kind of like the car that everyone wants, you know, it's cherry red, black interior.
Almost Vanilla Ice's year, right around
of course,
there.
Yeah.
Was it was hardtop?
So it was, yeah, it's a 2-door coupe, not convertible. Yeah, it's just a really cool car. You know, every I don't know, I think every 15, 16-year-old boy wants a red Mustang at one time in his life.
Yeah.
Or a red sports car at least. And so that's where that went.
All right, what's the funnest time you had in that car? Well, first of all, you don't have that car anymore, right? That one's down the road.
Yeah, so I actually had that car, believe it or not, knock on wood, I never wrecked that car. And I had that car till I was 22 years old. So 7 years I actually kept my first car, which is kind of rare, I think, for most people. I did have some other cars while I had that car, but that was kind of like, that was my baby, that was my pride and joy. I washed it and waxed it every week, and had a lot of fun with it.
Was that the one you had like nitrous in it and stuff like that? You were telling me about that one?
Yeah, so that car ended up being pretty badass. I built a 331 stroker motor for it, nitrous car. It was fast, made, you know, maybe 650 horsepower. For a 17, 18-year-old kid, plenty of power, had lots of fun in it.
Did you ever wreck it or anything like that?
Never wrecked it.
So you sold it in the end?
Yeah, I actually traded it in for a Mercedes, which kind of got my, you know, I was already working for Mercedes, and I felt I needed to have one if I worked on them, so I traded that car in for a C43 AMG. That was my first Mercedes that I owned.
When you started working for Mercedes, was that out here? Was that the Vegas one?
Yeah, so I went to school in Chicago for Mercedes, and then they gave me a call and they were like, "Hey, where would you like to work when you're done out of school? So I applied at Miami, Chicago, Vegas, all the hot spots. I was 21 years old. I'm like, shit, if I can live anywhere, I'm gonna go live in a cool ass spot. So I had been out to Vegas for my 21st birthday, and when I was out there, I stopped at the dealership, and lo and behold, they hired me, and
You moved out there.
I moved out there right after school.
21 years old, living in Vegas, huh?
Yeah, that lasted about 8 months.
I would have fucking died. I would have died like 4 months into it. I'd have been like, you gotta get me out of here.
I can tell you, partying until 4 in the morning and getting up at 6 to go to work is really hard.
Dude.
You can only do it.
You can kind of do that at 21.
Yeah, 21 you can do it, but after about 3 months of that, your body's just like ran down really, really hard.
Dude, I worked for a pipeline company, and we worked for like 3 months in Vegas, and I was just like, we were working like off the strip, but we'd go on the strip to like eat dinner and stuff like that, and I was like, after like a month, I was like, dude, I can't be here. Like, I don't like this place. And I was just like, sitting in my hotel room. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. And it was actually in the winter. It was like freezing cold out there. I was like, this place sucks. It's either too hot or too cold when you're there. Absolutely. Unless you're on drugs and you're in a casino, then that's the only time you're like, fuck it, I don't care. I don't feel shit. This is the best time.
Yeah, so that was really cool. So then I moved out to California. I heard that was where all the Mercedes were, so I moved out here.
Yeah, and then you had street bikes and stuff like that. You had some good street bike stories.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of fast stuff. I've always had
your scar on your arm. That's a street bike story.
Yeah, that's compound fracture through both sides. That was a hit and run. Wherever you're at, I hope you go to hell. Left me on the side of the road. But no, it was fun. It was a learning lesson. That's actually when I lived in Vegas. So in the eight months that I was there, I experienced a whole bunch of stuff, you know, including wrecking a brand new street bike or getting hit on a brand new street bike and losing some teeth and some of my arm and all the fun stuff.
Everybody's always got a good like cop story, you know, when you ran from the cops or you got pulled over by the cops. What's a cop story with you with the car situation, and what was it? What happened?
Oh, one story that really pops up really quick to me was in my 5-liter Mustang. I didn't have a back seat in it. I just had a nitrous bottle, and I was up at the cruise strip, which you know, essentially just pick up some chicks.
Yeah.
And so it really only had 2 seats in it. So I start talking to these girls, and there's 5 of them, and they're like, "Well, we want to go for a ride in your car." So I'm like, how am I going to put 5 girls in my car? I have 1 seat. So, needless to say, I put 5 girls in the car.
There was technically 2 seats, but one would have been a little occupied.
Yeah, so there was 1 in the front seat, 4 girls in the back seat, 1 chick straddling the nitrous bottle. And so we go off, and they're like, "Oh, this thing's so fast." And I was like, all right. So I pull into an AutoZone parking lot, and I start whipping donuts in it. I got all these girls screaming, smoke everywhere. All of a sudden, whoop whoop, red and blue, just lit me up. So I'm screwed. Like,
you were sober at the time?
Oh, I'm sober.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. I didn't start drinking until I was like after 21, 22 years old. I really started drinking then. Before then, I was just going to have fun.
Yeah.
So he pulls me out of the car, and he's like, how many people are in your car? I'm like, well, there's 5 girls, sir. And that's one thing I learned. Just be respectful, and you usually can get out of it. Usually.
Yeah, unless he's just a complete asshole.
Yeah. So I tell him, hey, I got 5 girls in there. They want to go for a ride. You know, I'm showing off. I'm 17 years old. Yeah. I'm sorry, you know.
He knew the drill.
Yeah. So,
he probably smelt all that pussy in there. He was like, fuck this kid.
So this is what he tells me. He pulls me to the front of the car and he goes, well, you got one of 2 choices. 1, you're becoming a man today and you're going to tell them all to get out of your car and walk home. Or 2, I'm going to give you a ticket for all of them. I was like, get the fuck out of my car. So they all walked down the street like a bunch of hookers. So it worked out great. And he goes, that was the right choice. He's like, have a nice night. So I got no ticket out of the deal. Reckless driving, you know, no seat belts, all kinds of shit.
That kid is just right there, boom, you lose your license right there.
Lost everything. So that was probably one story that I can still tell, you know, 15 years later that I had a great time doing.
That's what I was telling you earlier. I was going to tell you a story about the cops, right? Like a weird one like that. My buddy used to have a stock bug, but we used to take it everywhere and off-road it. And like a stock bug has pretty good suspension. You can jump it off curbs, like it soaks it up. So there's all these hills by where I used to live, and we used to always off-road trucks and stuff like that. We take the Bug off-road, and we're doing like these little shitty hill climbs. And all of a sudden the cops, like that spot was where all the stoners used to go smoke weed or like do drugs and stuff like that. We were just playing like Dukes of Hazzard in the Bug. There was like 3 of us in the Bug. All of a sudden, just like you said, cop pulls around. It's like just dark, cop pulls around the corner. Whoop! Fucking, everybody get out of the car. They're yelling at us, like shining the spotlights on us, and like it just had become dark. And they're like, everybody put your hands on the roof. I'm like, oh fuck. Like they're taking it serious. They come over and they're like, all right, where's the drugs at? And we're like, there's no drugs. And he's like, bullshit, like we know what you guys do up here, where's the drugs at? And we're like, I don't know. And then my buddy Mike is like, hey, and he's like, you want to fucking smell my fingers or what? He's like, smell your finger. And he like starts sticking his finger like back towards the cop's face, and he's like, fucking get your, he's like, why do you want me to smell your fingers? You sticking those in your girlfriend's pussy? What are you trying to get me to smell his fingers? And then right then we realized like they weren't really like that fucking pissed at us.
Yeah.
And he's like, get your fucking dirty pussy out of my hands. Hey, where's the weed at? I'm like, because my buddy thought like, you know, if we were smoking weed, his fingers would smell like weed. And then they ended up just busting our balls a little bit, and they're like, get the fuck out of here. And it was like up in this nice neighborhood with like expensive houses, so that they called the cops on us for like doing donuts in the fucking field. But those are always fucking cop stories, dude. I can tell those things for days.
Yeah, I have a number of stories, but that's one that always pops up in my head.
Any embarrassing like stories? Like, did your mom ever have a station wagon or any kind of like pile of shit car that you had to go to school in or anything like that?
Probably well, when my great grandma passed away, she gave me a Chrysler New Yorker, so I used it as my winter beater because I had my Mustang at the time, and I got pulled over one time. Speaking of cops, I got pulled over one time, and it's kind of embarrassing. He's like, dude, is this like your grandma's car or what? Because I had all this plush interior, and I was like, well, it was my grandma's car, but you know, it's mine now. He's like, dude, take your grandma's car back to her. So he's just like busting my chops again. But I didn't have like a lot of crazy like, you know, piece of shit car stories or anything like that.
Nothing super embarrassing.
Nothing super
broke down.
Yeah, nothing. You know, I kind of just drove them for what they were, and I had winter beaters, so I just buy these cars for like $300 and go ram them into the curb and street signs and whatever it was, and just move on with my day.
One of my other buddies, Chris, right? He was like an airplane mechanic, dude. Friend forever. He was a car nut, just like my buddy forever. There's this story that he tells all the time. His dad had this piece of shit Dodge van, right? Well, the windshield wipers were fucking broken. So he hooked them up to a string. So you literally had to pull the fucking windshield wipers, like pull them back and forth on the fucking string. And my other buddy Wes was in the car, and they were driving home, and it just started dumping rain. And his dad was like, fucking pull them faster, fucking pull them faster. He's like, they're in the front seat fucking manually doing the wind, like fucking shit. And he was just yelling at him the whole way home, faster, motherfucker, faster. And my buddies always tell that story of like when they were 12 years old, they had to fucking, he's like, hey Chris, man, do the windshield wipers, do the windshield wipers. He'd be like, fuck.
It's like a new dance, right?
Yeah, dude. My mom was like a fucking nutcase, dude. She used to drive me to school in the morning. Like, she had like an 85 Camaro, like a piece of shit one, the one with like the 305 in it.
IROC.
It wasn't an IROC, it was just the 305. It was the turd of those ones, right? But it was the same year, but it only came with the 305. Like, she couldn't afford like the Z28 one. So then after that, she would drive me to, she had like this giant witch hat and like big old sunglasses so she couldn't see her face because she used to wear makeup. And, I mean, didn't have no makeup on. And she would be like, I did more job on that one. She would be like, I'd be like, dude, just drop me off like a block from school. Like, I'll walk the rest of the way. And she'd be like, ow! Like, we'd already be late going to school. And I'd be like, fuck, dude. I'd be like ducking into the car. I'd be like, slide out the side of the car door and just run. And then, dude, I didn't get driven to school past 3rd grade. I rode my bike from 4th grade all the way on. I was like, all right, enough of this shit.
Enough
like,
of that.
I'm tired of these stories. Or being embarrassed by her. She was an embarrassing motherfucker. Any like good breakdown stories or anything like that, or being stranded anywhere?
I remember being stranded one time. So, another piece of shit story, piece of shit car. I was driving home from school from Chicago with my buddy, and there was like literally like 1.5 foot of snow on the ground. I grew up in Indiana, and we're driving home in this Ford Escort that I had bought, and we get sucked into the
like the ditch on the side?
Ditch, yeah, it sucked us into the ditch, right? And I drove almost out of it. I almost got out of it. Like, I drove a good like 50, 60 feet through the ditch and came back up. So I'm only like a few miles from my grandparents' house. I call my grandpa. I'm like, hey, I need you to come pull me out. He's like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'm figuring he's gonna. I mean, we're 5 miles away, so I figure maybe 15 minutes. So an hour passes by, hour and a half.
No grandpa.
No grandpa. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, where are you? Sure. Like 2 hours later, he shows up. I'm like, where are you? I'm like, you're 5 minutes away. He goes, well, you need to learn a life lesson. Sit out here in the fucking cold because now I got to hook my truck up to your car and pull it out. So
he's like, I had a couple cups of coffee.
Yeah, he's like, I got warm. I put my hot socks on. Here we are, fucking stuck in the ditch with a foot and a half of snow, and he's like left us out there for 2 hours. So broken down stories.
Dream car. What's your dream car? And
I guess like when I was younger, I always wanted that Ferrari. You know, like that was the car. But now as I got a little bit older and I'm kind of spoiled living here in Southern California, I get to see all the crazy exotics of everything. Probably a Koenigsegg, CCX, Carbon, that would be my my car. I can't even imagine like being in that car because it's like almost a $5 million car.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like $4 million. I've seen a couple of them and it goes like 220 something miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah, it's just insane power, way over 1,000 horsepower.
Who makes that one? Like,
so I mean, it's a Koenigsegg.
I mean, it's from like Italy or something over there.
Yeah, so it's a car that's from the, I was gonna say the Middle East, but not really, from over there.
Yeah.
Over there.
I've seen videos of it, but I've never seen one.
Right. So I have a kind of a cool story about one of those. I was in my car, and we'll show you later. We were going down to Cars and Coffee in San Diego, and one rolled up next to me, and I look over and he's taking pictures of my car, and I'm like, why is this dude taking pictures of my CLS? I'm like drooling. I could see it like all carbon fiber, all like ostrich interior. And I'm sitting there with my camera phone taking pictures of him. He's taking pictures of me. I'm like, that was kind of a cool story. So we pulled up and it was like, you know, it's just one of those cars that are just amazing, hand built, you know, the best of everything, super fast, super light. So I think now that would be the car I would love to have.
If somebody was out there, like say somebody 16 years old watching this, right, and they're dreaming of their favorite Mercedes, like since you worked on a shitload of Mercedes, like what would you say, like, you know, like if you were gonna get this, like let's just say if we're talking like BMWs, I would probably say like a 5 Series. It's like a kind of like, it's not too expensive, it's not like a piece of shit 3 Series, but like what kind of Mercedes would you say, like, or what's like the most modded younger kid car or something like that?
Right now the best bang for your buck is like an E55 AMG. So you can go out, I mean that car was 80, 90 plus $1,000 new. You can buy one that's, you know, got some miles on it for 10, 15,000 bucks now. You put another $5,000 in it and you have a 700 horsepower car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
and
it's awesome. Like you got heated seats, cooled seats. I mean, it's a lot of bang for your buck. But that's kind of the downfall to Mercedes, or the depreciation that they go through, because you drive a brand new car off the lot, you're losing like 25%, like bam,
right
instantly,
away.
like on the high end cars.
Yeah, that's a bonus though too, because you can buy a fucking 3-year-old car for like 60 grand less than it was a day ago or you know, a year ago.
And, you know, for me, I'm never buying a new car. It's not worth it for me. I work on them all day long, so I can fix anything that needs to be repaired. But yeah, it's definitely, I would say a 16-year-old kid. Not that I would put my 16-year-old kid in a 700 horsepower car. I don't recommend that.
Yeah, but if you were the kid, like
if I were the kid that would want it, yeah, I would do an E55.
That'd be, yeah, I like the E55s. You had an E55. You had that one for quite a while, like 3-4 years.
Yeah, I had that car.
Maybe 5 years, huh? Was it 5 years you had it?
I had that car for like 3-4 years. It ended up being one of the faster E55s in the country. Time I was said and done with it, and I sold it to some kid in Long Beach, and I think he wrecked it already. that's how it usually works. You know, he owned a shop, and he would call me every day asking me how to fix it. And I'm like, you own a shop? He's like, well, this was your car, you built it. So. But yeah, that was like, when I started working for Mercedes, that was like my dream car, to have that car. And I was fortunate enough to go with it.
So you decided to sell the E55, and you were like, time for a new car. What made you want to sell the E55? Let's start with that.
Well,
you had a bunch of mods done.
Yeah, I think the technology in it was, you know, no Bluetooth, things like that. So I was ready to step up to a different, newer version, I guess you could say. So they no longer make the supercharged version of that car. And the next thing I went with was the bi-turbo. So bi-turbo in English terms, twin turbo, 2 of them, 2 snails. Most people associate turbos with racing cars, you know, or a race car. So this particular car, I've only done a few mods to. Very simple, just exhaust and some tuning. And what that means is just essentially taking what the factory had and refining it. So right now that car makes around 700 horsepower to the crank and 900 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot for a street car.
Were you looking around like when you were like, I'm gonna pick my next car, were you looking at a different model, or were you just like right away you wanted the CLS 63?
Well, so the CLS was originally built off the E55 frame, or the E-Class chassis, and I really like that size of vehicle for myself. I'm a smaller guy, I don't want a big S-Class, you know. I'm not into C-Class, so I went to something mid-size. And between the E and the CLS has more creature comfort. It's a little more refined, nicer car, so that's what made me choose that car.
Dude, I'll take you in the Chevy, and in the desert, when you can just go ape shit and there's nothing to worry about, it's so much better. Like, so I drove like a Lamborghini a little while ago, and I was like, I was super excited to drive a Lamborghini, but super disappointed at the same time, because I'm like, if I just spend $400,000 on a Lamborghini, and this was all you got from it, I was like, my heart broke. Like, I was like, you know, the 8-year-old version of me was like, I had the picture on the wall, I had like a Lamborghini Countach, I was like, one day I'm gonna have a Lamborghini, you know, like, that was the goal, to have a badass car. And then I drove it, I'm like, it was pretty fast in a straight line, but you can't see out the fucking thing, like when you're driving it. It was just like, it shifted really rough, and it was like more dudes were looking at you than chicks. Like, there was still some gold diggers, don't get me wrong. Like, we drove down PCH, and the gold diggers were like, yo, what's up? And we're like, me and my buddy were driving it, and I was like, ah, man. But I was like, damn, if I spend like, if you spend $400,000 on like an off-road truck, you'd have like king shit off-road truck, like pretty close. You'd have like a trophy truck, or at least a middle to high-end version of it. And doing 140 over the dirt versus 150 on the street is way more fun. Like, it's just,
yeah, that's crazy. I haven't got to experience that. I definitely want to, so I'm gonna take you up on that.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Lamborghinis and not being very impressed by them, I've in my E55 I've embarrassed a few of them, and it feels pretty good, because I had one guy with a Aventador on PCH, I mean in Mexico, and I busted his balls pretty hard, and he came up and he goes, "That's a really fast 4-door fucking car." So you know, he gave me props. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like, for 400 grand, dude, the Bluetooth and the thing didn't work. It wouldn't connect the Bluetooth to your phone. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can't even listen to like your phone, and you had to have like a special cord for like to plug your phone into the
no
cord.
regular.
It wasn't even Bluetooth. It wasn't even Bluetooth. It was an auxiliary cord, but it was a special auxiliary cord. And I was like, just like, dude, like, and the chairs like I weren't that comfortable. I don't know. I mean, for like 400 grand, that thing you should basically feel like you're getting a blowjob going down the street. Like,
you took the words out of my mouth.
You should just be like, there is nothing better than life than this moment, like right here. Like, that's what it should feel like for 400 grand.
But then to kind of back that up is that those cars are race cars. Race cars aren't comfortable. You know, that's one thing I do love about Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
Especially like even like my new car.
Even like M3s. I love it.
I have massage seats literally in my car, heated, cooled to cool off my balls when it's nice and hot.
Yeah.
And I go down the street and I'm comfortable, and it makes all kinds of power, you know. So that's why I love high-end luxury cars that are fast, you know. Be it BMW, Audi.
Well, the 4-door car too is fucking rad. Like the M5, like the E55, all those versions of that 4-door car where it's like, it looks like, you know, you can still take 4 people if you need to, and it still smashes out. And they even do pretty good with 4 people in them.
Yeah.
Like a CTS-V, those are all right too.
Yeah.
That would be my lower pick of those bunch of cars. That would be probably the last pick of CTS-V. Yeah, so I grabbed some random beer. Like, I went to High Times and I was just walking through like an alcoholic. I was like, let me check this one out, let me check that one out. So we got here Trooper, and I don't know what it says, Robbins Brewery, wherever that's at. If you want to send me another beer, let me know. And so we're gonna keep drinking beers. We started out with one shot of Glenlivet's, 12 years old. We're gonna keep drinking, keep talking.
Yeah.
So short bio on you.
Well,
grew up in Indiana. What part of Indiana?
So I grew up in northern Indiana, just outside of South Bend. Most people associate that with Notre Dame.
Okay.
So one little town just west of there. Went to school in Chicago.
Went to Vegas.
Went to Vegas.
Then went here.
And then came out here about 11 years ago.
Favorite spot you living at still right here?
Weather-wise, yes, but I love the city of Chicago. Is awesome.
Mercedes mechanic, what, 15 years or how long you been working?
About 12 years now. 12 years now. Been working strictly on Mercedes.
Favorite Mercedes car? Just Mercedes, only Mercedes.
SLR.
SLR, okay.
SLR.
Okay.
Yeah.
They only made those for a few years, right?
Yeah, there's about a five-year run of them. You know, high performance,
Yeah,
fastest automatic ever in the world. You know.
I like the exhaust where it comes
crazy.
out behind the tire.
Yeah,
that's
just,
sick.
Just
like right behind the front tire.
nuts.
You don't see too many of those too. Every once in a while, Cars and Coffee, you'll see one and stuff like that. But
very, very rare.
yeah, and that's like a $500,000 car.
At least. So
Yeah.
when they first came out, they listed for $475,000, but you couldn't buy them for less than $750,000. And yeah, just kind of they dipped down, but now they're back up closer to $500,000 again.
Tell the story that we were talking about Arbor. I'm gonna get Arbor on the show eventually. So Arbor, so for you to know, Arbor, there's a company called Private Collection Motors, and fuck you, Arbor, if you're watching this shit. It's a car wholesaler, but he's a guy that likes to talk a lot of shit and always likes to gamble or do whatever, and he's always just like screwing around. So I was telling Chris, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get Arbor on the show because we love to talk shit. So our motto for the muffler shop is no muff too tough, we dive till 5. Well, he Googled that, and there's a muffler shop up north that uses that slogan, no muffler too tough, we dive till 5. Well, he called that shop thinking he was calling my shop, and he's like, hey, motherfucker, what's up? I gotta bring over a car. And the guy was like, excuse me, who is this? This is a Steve's Mufflers. He's like, hey, fuck you, quit playing with me, bitch. I'm gonna come over there and slap you with my dick. He's saying all this shit. The guy hangs up on him like 3 times. He kept calling back. And then he was like, finally he looked at the Google, he's like, oh shit, I was calling some shop in like Bakersfield. So then he come down and told me a story, and then you were telling me a story that you bought your car from him and you had to go sign some papers.
Yeah, so I bought an E55 from Arbor, and I forgot to sign one line, so he called me back and he said, hey, go ahead, you know, come down to the shop, sign this paperwork, whatever. So when I get there, knowing him, talking shit, saying my car is fucking slow, yada, yada, yada. So lo and behold, I bet him $100 that whatever car he had in the shop that I would beat him in my car. So we go down to the local street right here, and we race for $100. Long story short, I take his $100 from him. We go back to the shop, and we're back to his store, and you know, he's pretty pissed. He coughs over $100 to me. Well, in this waiting room, I see a pool table. He doesn't know I'm a pool shark at all. I said, hey Arbor, you want your $100 back? We'll play for a game of pool. If you win, I'll give, you know, it'd be even money. If not, you give me $200. Oh fuck, I'm awesome at pool. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna beat your ass. All right, cool. He goes, you break. So I break. I run out on the table. Long story short,
He doesn't even hit the fucking ball.
He doesn't even hit one fucking ball. I take $200 from him.
Sign
the paperwork. I'm like, damn, that's a nice day's work.
And for Arbor, you know, he was so fucking pissed.
Steam coming out of his fucking ears. So then he calls me.
Cat.
So then he calls me like a week later with this full-blown race car. Like, hey, I want my $200 back. I'm like, I'm not gonna race you. He's got a full-blown race car. So yeah, it was kind of funny. But we, I didn't race him for $200. I kept it. I bought a bunch of beer with it and drank on him. But Arbor, tough shit.
Every time I see him, he's like, hey, fucking cocksucker, here's some tips, make it happen. I'm like, dude, every time he brings over some impossible shit, he'll buy these like Chinese tips that are like the AMG knockoff versions that he buys on the internet for like $40. And I'm like, dude, they're like crooked. They're like 2 brand new tips and one is like longer than the other. He's like, I'll just make it work. I'm like, and you know, he puts those wide body kits on a lot of those like SL65s and stuff like that. So we've done a bunch of those for him. But yeah, fucking Arbor, dude, that guy's a fucking character. Every time,
I love taking money from him.
Every time he comes in my shop, he's like, hey, we take our dicks out, we put them on the counter, whoever's the shorter sucks the other one. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. He's like, hey, I didn't say I didn't try. You son of a bitch.
Want to do that one again, or?
No, let's skip another one. Let's go to the next one. So we're moving on up to a different beer. I don't know. I just started.
This is Trader Joe's, baby.
Yeah, I just started picking shit. I was just.
This is oh, we're popping bottles now.
Ballin'. Yeah, hey, and hey, McGregor, you let me down, you son of a bitch. I would have won like $4 grand if you'd have knocked that fucker out in the 4th round. I'm kind of upset about that.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, he spent $800 on the fight last night altogether with like food and having people over. I gambled $700, 300 on the straight win. I bet on just the rounds. Ate shit on. I was going to pull my fucking hair out.
But you won one, right?
I won one. Yeah, I did. I won a $50 bet for it wouldn't go 11 rounds or more. And they fucking take the round like
you knocked him out. I wouldn't call it a knockout.
I would have lost 300 though because I gave him 6 to 1 odds. I bet 50. I would have owed him 300. Ooh. But I was like, God damn. All right, cheers. All right, fastest you've ever been in a vehicle or on a public highway. Let's go public highway, not drag strips.
Are we talking in Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico. All these stories. Yeah, all these stories.
Yeah. Public highway in Mexico. The fastest I've ever been was 186, and that was in a C5 Corvette that was built by Callaway. Yeah, it was 186. I remember. And then right after that, we actually got pulled over for doing a nasty ass donut underneath the underpass. And my friend's dad was like, I make more money in a month than you make in a year. And the cop let us go.
Really?
He literally said that to the cop. I couldn't fucking believe it. And I was like, well, I guess maybe that's how I gotta talk to him. Just like a fucking dick and then just get off. But fastest I've ever driven in a car, not been a passenger, but actually drove, was in my E55. I did $182 in it. And then I was coming down and it was about 107 miles an hour, the front carbon fiber lip came off and it went underneath the car and literally scared the fucking shit out of me. Needless to say, my wife's like 7 months pregnant at the time.
Was she in the car?
No. But I'm recording it and I send it to her. I'm like, oh babe, I did like 182 today.
She's like, get your ass home, you fucking idiot.
What the fuck are you doing 182 miles an hour and I'm 7 months pregnant with your first baby in my belly?
Yeah, you're like, you might have a point.
Yeah. But I got on the brakes so hard that I actually warped the rotors, so I had to put some new brakes on the car because at 170, when you see something go underneath your car and you hear it, it's just like, and disintegrate, like,
yeah.
It makes your balls go in your stomach.
Yeah, yeah. Damn, I think the fastest I've driven a car is like 157, like an actual regular car. But on a street bike, 176. I did 176 multiple times on my R1.
I was gonna say I did 170 plus on my motorcycle too.
But it goes so fast up to about like 160 something, and then it's like it's like, and then you start realizing.
But then it's like light speed. It's like.
Then you start to realize like, uh-oh, I might actually die right now. Like if I fuck up, like, because I remember like you like 130, you're just like, oh yeah, you're like, fuck it, let's just keep banging gears. And then when you get to like 160, it's enough time for your brain to start thinking like, uh-oh, this might not be a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. 180.
I hit a
couple times.
I hit some shit on the freeway on the 210 in Mexico. One time I was like doing like 120 and I was slowing down. I was like, oh, and I like
on your motorcycle?
Yeah, I hit some shit and I hit it with both tires, but it fucking put a dent in the back wheel and blew out the tire. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck was that? It still felt okay, and I was like still cruising at like 100. I used to wait until like 4 in the morning. I would just stay at my house, stay up all night,
and then
go rip down and up and down because nothing was on the freeway.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the fucking carpool lane, and you know when you get going like 160, you can't really steer. Like when you try to steer, you're like, ugh,
you just lean.
Yeah, like the wind like keeps you kind of going straight. And I was having that moment, like I faded from like the 3rd lane to like the fucking carpool lane, and I was trying to like get back in, and I was like, and then I hit in the little yellow spot, I hit like I think it was a piece of wood, I don't know what the hell it was. And then once I slowed down to like 70, I almost wrecked. Like it just started getting all crazy on me, and I was like, holy shit! And like I got it down, and then I limped it home. I limped it home all the way from like, I drove like 6 miles on my rim. I stopped and the rim was fucked, so I'm like, well, it ain't gonna hurt anymore. So I just kept riding the motherfucker. I rode it all the way home, like another 6 miles, dead. And it was just like destroyed when I got there. Like the tire like fell off the wheel by the time I actually got all the way to my house. But I just kept riding the fucker. So this part of the thing, we're gonna do a little roulette with alcohol involved.
Shot roulette.
Shot roulette. 13 bucks on Amazon. Like I was gonna buy shot glasses. It was 10 bucks for shot glasses or the whole fucking thing for 13 bucks. I was like, let's party. So we're just gonna go red or black. So either red is gonna be this. Well, those are like real shots too.
Oh.
They're not that big. They're not that big.
No, that's only red. You gotta put one in black.
Well, no, yeah. Well, that's red, and then.
Oh, black is.
Yeah, we'll switch. We'll put black will be this one.
Oh, we got some scotch.
Yeah, two different kinds of scotch.
Okay.
All right.
Mike's trying to kill me too.
Everybody's fuck it. We'll Uber home. Everybody's a gambling man. Yeah, here. You do the marble. I'll spin the thing. And then my table's not rigged like they do at the casino.
How's this work out for me, and how's this work out for you?
You take the first one. I'll take the second one. Red. So you get red. Pick a red. 34.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do it.
Fuck it. We'll both drink red.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. That one's pretty good. That was this one.
That's actually better.
Yeah. It's not as rough tasting as the other one.
It's a little smoky.
Yeah.
The smoky.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one. Didn't taste like much. We'll do one more of these, and then after this we'll drink one more, and then we can you put some more in red.
Oh, it's black.
That was these ones.
I know. But what happened if it ended up on red?
Oh shit. Let me I want to take a drink.
I actually kind of like this.
This one's pretty good, yeah.
The
It's not
fucking
bad.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah. So I bought this off of Amazon, and this is supposed to not give you a hangover. We're gonna find out right now. It says don't take more than 3. It says take before you drink or after you drink.
Or during.
No, I gotta work tomorrow because Steve's taking vacation. So I actually have to work
I'm a
tomorrow.
one-man crew, so I have no choice.
Oh, that's like 2 shots too.
Oh, it looks terrible.
Never too hungover. Hopefully it works. Prevention. We'll find
Let
out.
us know when you want to send us more.
Cheers. Ugh. Kind of tastes like lemon lime Gatorade. All right, cheers. That one is good. That's a good scotch. This one was like 38 bucks. This one was 50 bucks. And this shit is more dog shit. This is the better choice for 38 bucks. If you're buying scotch from High Times, which they'll probably mail it to you if you're 21.
If you're 21.
If you're 21.
We have some stories together.
No, I'll tell that story. Was that the time we were riding triples on the bike?
Yeah, we stole the bicycle, and then me, you, and Wes.
Yeah. No, I think those were 2 different stories.
No, it was the same day. Yeah, because remember Wes got pissed off at that guy at the. It was the same dude that he got
In Woody's in the bathroom.
Woody's in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, yeah. That was
Wes was pedaling us. I was on the front, you were on the back. And he's like, "You fat fucks."
That was fucking funny. Fucking Wes, he doesn't even come out no more. He has a kid and shit. He don't do nothing. He just hangs out at home like a bitch.
Have one more.
Oh, the slowest. You said you had a story about the slowest. Holy shit! The motherfucker went off the roof. I bought all this shit on Amazon. It's so great. All right, cheers.
Being single, seeing double, and sleeping triple.
So when I met my ex-wife,
Let's start there. Your ex-wife. My ex-wife.
My ex-wife. Okay, we go to this frat party. It's the blowout party. It's the like winter break when they just rage it. We get there. I mean, there's dudes with like parking cones doing the whole 9 yards, parking everybody. We go there. I tell my one buddy, I'm like, damn, I like that chick right there. Boom. Hooks it up. I end up hanging out with her, get her number. We were fucking drunk as shit. Like, shouldn't have been driving. He's drunker than me, but he's like gonna be a doctor, so he doesn't want to like risk it. He's like, you're driving home, bitch. I'm like 19. I'm like, fuck it, I'll drive. We're driving and we're on the fucking 60 freeway in Mexico, and we're doing like 40 miles an hour. He's like, dude, you're doing 40 miles an hour. I'm like, I just want to make sure like we don't get pulled over for speeding. He's like, you're doing 40, like at least do 50.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm like his little Toyota Tacoma. We end up over at like this like Indian chick's house. I don't know, like a bunch of Indian chicks. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I was so drunk. I'm like, what are we doing here? And he's like, just fuck one of these Indian chicks. I'm gonna fuck this other one. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, let's just go home. Like, where the fuck are we? We ended up staying at the chick's house. Me and his other buddy, like Chad, or I don't know what the fuck dude's name was. We ended up going back in the car. We go in the house, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, I'm just gonna get a blowy real quick. I'm like, oh, get that fucking blowy. Let's get the fuck out of here. So we ended up sitting in the car, and I don't know how the fuck we got home from there, but we were so hammered. I just remember doing 40 miles an hour. And me and that same dude, different story, I'll tell you later. We jumped over these railroad tracks and took out the security guard at this nursery. So homeboy parked this truck across the fucking railroad, and this is, I think, out of the statute of limitations. Yeah, this is a while. Parked this shit across the railroad tracks like this. Well, the lights were over here. Well, we used to do this jump, and it was a pavement jump, and it was like he parked. So from like a quarter mile back where we start, you couldn't tell that there was like somebody on the tracks. Well, we Dukes the Hazzard off the lip, right through the side of the bed of his fucking Ford Ranger, but no, fucking right through the whole truck. And all the fucking, we were to come with the wheels fucking blow off the truck. When we hit this truck, we land, skid and land in the ditch. My buddy throws in reverse, he's like, I'm like, there's no fucking front wheels. I just saw the front wheels fucking roll that way. Like, there's no fucking way we're going anywhere. He's like, what do we do? I'm like, we fucking run. That's what we do.
Yeah,
like, we run. We had 3 other cars with us because everybody was doing the jump. And we jump. My buddy Nick's in the Yukon, he's like, dude, you guys fucked up on me. Shut the fuck up. As soon as we get out of the car, the security guard guy's like this Mexican guy that barely spoke English runs up. He's like, oh my God, you guys all right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, who was driving? I'm like, I don't know, man. They took off running that way. And we were just in the car. He's like, well, fucking shit, my truck is fucked. I'm like, I don't know, man. They were that way. And I'm like, dude, let's get the fuck out of here. We jump in my buddy's other Yukon, and we're like, brrr. He reports it fucking stolen, right? And I'm like, oh shit, right? Mexico PD. Mexico PD. It's like, calls them in, they're like, we know you did a fucking hit and run, all this shit. And he's like, nope. And he's like, hey, they want to know that you were with me. I'm like, fuck you, I was not with you that night. I'm gonna tell them I don't know who the fuck you are. What happens? Long story short, so they called him in, they like berated him with questions and shit, and they were like,
and he gave up.
No, they were like, we got better shit on our hands. We have like a bunch of murders and shit. Like, you just tell us you did it, we're gonna reduce it to a misdemeanor, and you walk the fuck out of here. His insurance already paid for his truck by the time all this shit went down. And they were like, all right, fuck it, misdemeanor, like leaving the scene of an accident or something like that. Oh, shit. And we looked at the fucking hit and run, like it was a good one.
Oh shit, my slow car story, it's not that good. It's not that good at all. But I did have this little piece of shit Ford Escort one time, and I was going to my girlfriend's house, and I'm out in the middle of fucking BFE, man. Like, nothing's out there. I get a flat tire. Well, I know, because being a car guy, I have no fucking spare tires, so I'm gonna fucking drive on it. Like, so it's like, so, but I have like a good like 15 miles to go. So I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna drive.
Was it a front tire or back tire?
It was a back tire. And it's a front wheel drive car, so fuck I'm gonna drag it.
Yeah, that's the best.
I had to really think about it, right? So I get going, fucking, I'm doing like 40 miles an hour, and there's this guy, he's like beeping his horn at me. Hey, your tire. I'm like, you think I don't know my fucking tires are fucking fucked up? So I
hit my head off the roof 8 times already, bro. I know the tire's blown out.
I'm fucking going, and all of a sudden the tire falls off, so now it's only on the rim. I got like a good like 3 miles to go still. I made it that far, like 12 miles on the fucking tire that was fucking wobbly. So, and my car won't go any faster. It's only going like 20 miles an hour. It's like, it's dying. Yeah. So I get to my girlfriend's house at the time, and her dad's like, your car's smoking, like it's like on fire. I think it was a 13-inch wheel, and time I got to his house it was about a 10-inch wheel because it ground about fucking 3 inches off of it. And yeah, so that was my, I ended up with, I think I was going about 10 miles an hour time I got to his house because the thing was throwing sparks so bad. Shit. And multiple people honking their horns, telling me that I had a flat tire. I'm like, you think I mean, I can see that the shit's on fire, you know? Like, yeah, we're just gonna keep going with it.
Good beers. So this has been the Life of the Gears. If you're a car enthusiast, a car builder, even a mechanic, whatever, if you like cars and you have a passion for them, subscribe to our channel. We're going to do more cars, more of bikes, motorcycles, whatever you've built, as long as you got a passion for it. Anything that's mechanical that hauls ass and makes noise, that's what we want to see. Feel free to email me. Our email is orangecountymuffler@gmail.com, and we'll have you on our show. Nothing like a Sunday kicking it in the shop, drinking beers, and talking shit about cars. Oh shit!
I heard about you.
I fucked up, dude. You missed it. We were trying to do burnouts in the parking lot.